Hello, everyone. It's so inspiring already to be here, and I had such a great time with my table there that I almost thought, okay, I need to throw out my entire lightning talk and do something else, but no time for that. So we are all here because we understand the importance of money, how powerful it is, and how much potential it has to really transform the systems that we're living under. But we're also all here because we know that money is fundamentally not enough. We've already heard how money follows the routes of power. It follows the heart veins of these cynical people who wield it. It is structured in systems that we can't fully control. And unless we figure out how to break through and really deeply change those underlying structures, we're not going to get anywhere. Most of you were probably here yesterday when Indy gave his opening lightning talk, and he himself said that it was dark. It was certainly a wake-up call. Most of what we've been doing for the last decades has simply not cut it. We're not getting to the quantum of change that we need to get to. And it's easy to walk away from such an introduction feeling hopeless. What exactly can we do? What will a gathering like this really do to move the needle and to fundamentally get us to that right scale, especially as time is running out and we're getting closer and closer to these tipping points? So what I have to share with you today are three things that are giving me hope. Three things that are actually all somehow grounded in the logic of natural systems in one way or another, and they do relate to real work that's happening on the ground. The first one is, the theme word is symbiosis. So for the last 2 years, I've had the great privilege to be part of a group of organizations led by this amazing woman in red right there, Kirsten Dunlop, called the Systemic Climate Action Collaborative. And we have been really throwing our entire heart into creating a different type of collaboration. There was a realization I had in 2019 that even if someone gave me a huge bag of money, I wouldn't be able to deploy it in a way that would be effective to drive the systemic change that we need to see. And I found Kirsten a couple years later, and we came together around this topic, and she then led the charge to build this new way of working. Organizations coming together to break down silos. We worked for 2 years, sharing our entire fundraising books, deeply collaborating, without a single contract having been signed. And I am really excited to say that just last month, after all of that hard work, we finally dispersed our first tranche of very special funding to really collectively create this learning cycle and start to really actively work both deeply in place and transversally on key systemic issues. This forms, I think, the new logic, a basis for a kind of transformative capital stack. The second is the second word beyond symbiosis, and so why I said symbiosis is because we're actually pioneering a new model of collaboration rooted in the logic of symbiotic relationships in nature, like coral reefs. So that's the kind of key thing there. The second is ecosystems. So I, myself, and many people here are falling back a level, committing to starting to work more deeply in place, in bioregions, in landscapes, really looking at the whole systems transformation level, and figuring out how we can deploy capital to drive transitions in these whole places. And for me, this is really critical because as the institutions above us start to crumble, we actually need to create these pockets of resilience that can start to form these mycelial networks and actually layer in the lattice work that will form the basis of new economic structures in these places. And as the world around us collapses, these things can reach out to one another and maybe even create the foundations of new economic systems that can replace the broken one that we're dealing with today. And I see that as the formation, the active formation of ecosystems. We can't do it alone, but we can do it in groups together. And the last one is maybe something that's not super popular, but it's amazingly powerful, and that is virality, exponential influence. Now, the only way that we can actually break through the problems that Indy sketched for us last night, losing one of our key bread baskets at 1.7 degrees and all of those other horrible things, is if we tap into the power that actually life has within it, which is to drive exponential change. Now here's just a last thought experiment I want to leave you with. There are around 180 of us in this room, and if I were to say, how do we reach everyone on the planet? You might start to think about bots taking over the internet, or influencer campaigns, or trying to get Elon Musk to say something on the internet, I don't know. But actually, if every single one of us committed to working to transform 2 people in our lives who are in a different mindset, not in this space that we're in, just 2 people, with them taking on the same commitment to doing the same thing, 2 people the following year, we would reach every single person on this planet in 16 years. Every single person. So I know that this is maybe not a kind of easy thing to think of, but my last ask to you would be, who would your 2 people be? Who are the lowest hanging fruit? People that you can potentially pull in, who's maybe are critical influencers or nodes, and from there, if we make that commitment, we can actually create a movement that can tip the scale, bend those exponential curves, and really bring us back within planetary boundaries or on that path. Thank you.